Hey everyone, it's Marco here from the mycolorscreen channel. Now last week quite a number of you voted for having home screen tutorials as being the most predominant videos that will be shown on Tuesdays. Now don't worry, I will still add some variety, but the majority will still be home screen setups. So without any further ado, let's bring you today's home screen tutorial. Great everyone, so today's home screen setup is titled Torrentine by the artist, I'm probably going to say this wrong again, alicarbovader, and it's quite phenomenal as it's only one screen, but there is still a lot more here than meets the eye. Great, so working our way from top to bottom, first off we got a little time there, you got how much free space is available on your phone, looks really cool, it's a little bit hard to see. Beneath that we've got an awesome analog clock that adds a sense of class to your home screen, and beneath that it looks even cooler with this little greeting here that changes according to the time of the day. Beneath that you've got your battery percentage progress bar, which looks really good, really clean and minimal, and if you select this little play button right here, we'll see what happens. It starts playing your music, and as you can see right here, that clock has now been replaced by the album art, which looks really good. You've got your song information there, and as you can tell, the battery percentage bar has now been replaced by your song progress bar, which is pretty awesome. Looks really good, and the author has pulled it off brilliantly. And of course, you got your little previous and next icons there as well. You can just push pause, and it'll revert to the original settings, which I truly enjoy. And beneath that you got your list of usual icons here, your jump to shortcuts, but this top row is pretty cool. It's got some more information, for example your date, your weather icon, as well as your temperature. Looks all good. And then beneath that it's got your missed call and missed SMS notifications there. It's got a little pop-up there, which I truly enjoy. And then last but not least, it's got your little app drawer icon here that looks really good, brings up your app drawer quick and simple like that. So if you'd like to set up this Android home screen, then let us begin with today's video tutorial. Great, so before you begin, just letting you know what apps and resources that you'll be needing in order to complete this very setup. So as always, you would need a third-party launcher. I do recommend Nova Launcher for this very setup. I'm using Nova Launcher Prime, which does help me immensely. Next up will be Zooper Widget, as all those widgets that you saw there were comprised of Zooper Widget. And next up will be Media Utilities, as that's simply because to get your music working, you're going to be needing Media Utilities. And then last but not least will be a good old file explorer, such as ES File Explorer, simply to copy and paste your files with ease. So from here I'm just going to be opening up my File Explorer and navigating to that folder that I've now copied onto my phone. If you want to get all the resources, check in the link in the description below. It comes with a zip file that you either want to download onto your computer, extract and then copy onto your phone, or just download directly onto your phone and extract it, say using your File Explorer. Now I'm just going to be opening up the folder, and here you can see all the necessary resources. Now all you have to do is to hold down on all the Zooper widgets, just select them like that. To save a bit of time, I'm just going to select the more icon here. I'm going to select copy to, and I'm going to navigate in my SD card main folder directory here. I'm going to go into my Zooper widget folder, then into my templates, and I'm just going to select OK, and I'm just going to paste them all into that Zooper widget templates folder, as that's where Zooper widget will look for them when you want to add in your own widgets. Once you've got all the necessary files copied into their respectful places, you want to open up your media utilities now, and this is quite important as a lot of people might get confused with this. You want to select your overflow icon there. If it's not there, you probably have a Samsung device or something that'll have your options menu, and you want to go into your settings. Next up, you want to scroll a bit down, make sure that in your application integration that Zooper is enabled. I pretty much just always leave them all enabled just in case. And the next up, you want to have all of these enabled as well. You want to have alternative data collection, direct control, cover art available, cover art size, and song progress. You always want to have those always enabled. And then next up, this is a very important step, cover art shape. This is probably set on rectangle as you currently have it. You want to change that to circle, because remember we had that awesome Daft Punk album art that was in the shape of a circle. Well, this is where you change it. So please don't write in the comment section how do you get it into a circle. This is how you do it. So that is your media settings complete. You just want to back out of it, and we can now minimize this app drawer as we are now ready to set up this home screen. Great, so next up you want a completely blank home screen. If you have any icons or widgets, you just want to hold down on them, select remove, or just drag them into the X at the top. You may also notice that I'm running my Nexus 5 in expanded desktop mode. That's because my Nexus 5 is rooted, and I just did that to make my icons fit a lot easier. You still might be able to do it on your unrooted Nexus 4, Nexus 5, or any other device that still has those soft keys, but you might struggle a bit, and I do maybe suggest going with SS Launcher or even Lightning Launcher to get all those widgets to fit correctly, as they can be quite troublesome. There's quite a few to add. And yeah, so once you have a completely blank home screen, you don't have to worry about the wallpaper. We'll get to that a bit later, but you want to hold down on the home screen right now, select that wrench, and that'll bring you up into your Nova settings. From here, I'm going to jump into my desktop settings and then into my desktop grid. Now, a 9x8 seemed to work out for me. There was a slight gap at the bottom, and I wasn't too sure. The author didn't state what grid size was the best, but I went for a 9x8, and hey, it seemed to work out with just a pixel difference. But like I said, we'll get to that wallpaper in a little while. So I'm just going to select OK. A 9x8, like I said, may work out for you, but for other devices, I'm not too sure on. Next up, your margins, you always want to be on none. Your home screens, it's only going to be one home screen. Shadows disabled, everything else you can just leave as default. But as always, widget overlap and overlap when placing is always a good idea to have. You want to select back now. You want to jump into your dock settings. Make sure that your dock is disabled. We don't need a dock for this setup. As always, you want to jump into your look and feel and disable your show notification bar setting, because of course you don't want to have a notification bar. We're going to be putting in our own awesome looking bar. So that's pretty much it. Your gestures and buttons, you are always welcome to have a gesture, such as say open up your app drawer, just in case you remove everything and you're like, whoa, how do I get into my app drawer? But this is only for Prime users, so you might just want to think about that. So it's not too important, but it's always good to have. And that is our Nova settings complete. Very quick and simple, pretty much just changing the grid size. And once we just minimize our screen, make sure that you have a completely blank home screen, as we're now ready to add in our Zooper widgets. Great, so we're going to start off by adding in the first Zooper widget. It's going to be the app drawer icon at the bottom. We're going to hold down on the home screen and select widgets, and we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and select a Zooper widget Pro. Now of course you want to go for a 7x1, and that's pretty large, but I think this is an 8 column setup, so I'm just going to hold down, select resize, and make it just one bigger. So it looks like that. I'm going to now select this little hand. I'm going to select the SD card, as that, remember, is where we've copied all of our Zooper widget templates into. So as always, scroll to the very bottom and you want to look for the one that looks like an app drawer icon. Where it is, there it is, Torrentine app drawer. So there it is, select it like this. Now this is a little trick, and it's a very cheap method. I'm going to go into my widget background now. As you can see, that is the widget background that I currently have. So there was a slight little gap for me. I'm not sure. You might want to just go back out of this and see if there's a gap for you. And if there is, you want to set the background as this very dark gray, almost black. And how do I get an exact background color of this? I know a lot of people are going to laugh right now, but what I'm going to do now is to take a screenshot of this. Yes, I just did that, and I'm just going to minimize out of everything. So what you want to do now is just wait for it. See if there is a slight little gap. You might even be able to see it on this video. Great, so if you have just applied this widget and there is no gap at the bottom whatsoever, then good for you. You do not have to change the wallpaper. However, if you're unlucky like me and there was a slight gap, here is what you now do. You're going to hold down on the home screen, go into your wallpapers, go into your preferred gallery app. So I'm just going to go into my standard gallery, and from here I want to look for that screenshot that I took earlier. I'm just going to go and select it right now, and as you can see, it's taken up the entire screen, but all I want is that little color that it shows at the bottom there. Now I'm just going to resize this so that it goes really teeny tiny, so it takes up that entire color there. Select OK, and let's see what it looks like. As you can tell, it looks pretty good to me. So cheap way, quick way of getting a same color background as the widget. So now we can start adding in the rest of the widgets. I'm just going to do one for show, and then you can just do all the rest, because that's pretty much how Zooper widgets go. If you can do one, you can do them all. So I'm just going to add in the next row here, hold down on it, remember 7x1, and you can just drag it across. Select that little hand, go into your SD card. You want to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I'm just going to go for the, I think it's the third app drawer, the apps 3, there it is. So you're just selecting it like that, pops up like that. We can now go back and see how it looks, and as you can see, that looks pretty good. So from here you're going to add in the 2 other rows of apps. Then next up will be that massive clock and music player. I think you have to stretch it down by 1 or 2, I'm not too sure on that, but then you just have to add in that top bar, which is also another 8x1 size. So I'm going to let you all do that, and then you can come back here once you are done. Great, so there's all the widgets added. This was actually a 3x8 or an 8x3, so it was 8 across and 3 down, if that makes your lives any easier. but all you have to do now is to configure these Zooper widgets to your liking. Now it's very easy to do because it's Zooper widget. It's quite user friendly. Don't worry if you have no idea how to use Zooper widget, check in the link in the description below for the complete guide on how to use this amazing piece of machinery. Now what you want to do is to start configuring. What happened for me, for some reason this progress bar and the battery bar here was a little bit to the left, so all we have to do to change that is just to select the widget now, bring up your Zooper widget configuration menu here. We're going to jump into our layouts. Now take note of this, you want to select your battery bar, which is now being shown, as well as your song progress bar. Even though that isn't shown, don't worry, they're still the same, pretty much the same thing. I'm going to select this little icon here at the top. That's your reposition icon, I guess you could call it, and you want to enable fast move, and you're only worried about your X offset. So if we select the little plus button, as you can see, it starts moving to the right hand side, and you want to get it so that it's more or less in the middle. I'm not too sure on the exact proportions, trying to see now. I think that looks pretty good. How does it look for you guys? Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So if you're happy with that, then all good for you. You just want to select back and then back out of that and then go all the way back, and it should hopefully move into a much better position. Yes, that does look much better. Now all you have to do now is to configure your hotspot icons, well, your shortcuts to open up your respectful different apps. So I'm going to select this widget right here, for example. That'll open up, say I want to open up my gallery for this icon, and when I selected it earlier nothing happened. So I want to go into my layout right now. I want to look for that gallery 2 bitmap. I'm going to select it right now, and as you can see, it's not been set up to open up anything. So you want to select your module on tap action right there, and that just pretty much means what app you would like it to open when you select that specific icon. I'm going to scroll to my app list column here. I'm going to scroll a bit more down, and I want to look for my gallery, and if I select it like that, it has now been set so that when I select that area, it opens up my gallery app. So it's pretty quick and simple. You want to do that so that you don't complain and say, well, why when I tap that music icon it opens up Google Play Music, I want it to open up, say, Power Amp. So you just want to go into every one of those little bitmap icons and change that widget on tap action to your preferred app of choice. So that's pretty much it. The only thing you want to do as well, this app drawer icon has been set to open up Apex Launcher. Probably the reason why there was a slight gap as well, because there are a few differences. But if we go to our layout right now, you want to select this bottom rectangle, as that is just an invisible, transparent, I think, square over that app drawer. You want to select your module on tap action. As you can see, it's been set for Apex. So if you're using Apex Launcher, then good for you. You don't have to change this. But for us Nova users right here, you want to scroll this time to our shortcuts column, which is where all your shortcuts are kept. And if you select your Nova Launcher and then your app drawer, it'll now open up your Nova app drawer, of course, when you select it. We can then try it out. If we select our app drawer icon, bam, quick and simple like that, opens up our app drawer. The last thing that you want to be doing is, once you're happy with all of your hotspots and everything opens the way it should, your music works, everything works, what you want to do is to disable the widget on tap action for the entire Zooper widget selection area. So all you'd have to do, I know that was probably a bit too much to take in, but if you select this widget right here, for example, and you select widget on tap action, remember this is for the general setting now for that specific widget, you want to select disabled. Now why did I select disabled? Well, as you can see, when I'm tapping the sides, nothing is happening, but don't worry, your widget on tap action for that little icon has still been set to open up your app drawer. So you want to do that to every single one of these widgets that you've now added in. It is quite quick to do, so it's not too much hassle there, and the results are definitely worth it. So we're going to just test it out, see if everything works. Yes, if it isn't working too well, make sure that Media Utilities is also enabled in your general Android settings, as I do think it needs some permissions there. So that is our home screen complete, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, as well as please subscribe to the mycolorscreen channel if you haven't already. It'll truly mean a lot to us. Also, don't forget to check out our various social communities. We're on Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and even Instagram. So you always want to keep connected and stay in touch with the latest and greatest Android customization tips and tricks. Last but not least, don't forget to check out mycolorscreen's official one-click theming launcher titled Thema Beta. It is currently available free on the Google Play Store, and it literally is a one-click theming launcher. You say, enjoy this theme over here, I just click apply, and you just give it a few seconds, let it do its thing, and within seconds you can have a really awesome looking Android home screen. There's no hassle, there's no tears involved. in trying to set up a home screen. It's one click and apply, and of course you can still customize it to the way that you would like. So other than that, thank you very much guys for watching. Marco here from the mycolorscreen channel, and as always, don't stop customizing.